World. Magical, incredible, amazing. Its continents, climates, nature, its creatures, animals, humans, journeys and destinations, land and sky, sea and air. Sophisticated, cosmopolitan, original, people and cultures, ceremonies and dances, rituals and music. Treasures and icons, its history, landmarks, modern, ancient, exotic. Beautiful places, fascinating lives, incredible faces. Live it, see it, and share it. Thousands of stories, all in your living room. DocuBox. Come and discover the world with us.
Alex and Finn are cycling from Alaska to Panama, something they hadn't been looking forward to. They're on their way to the Canadian border. Thankfully, a beautiful ferry trip to Valdez gives them a bit of a rest.
We're looking just around the corner of the Columbia Glacier, and there's floating ice everywhere. Apparently the ferry has to dodge around the icebergs. Most of the big ones have melted off as it's quite late in the summer, but there's still quite a few dotted around everywhere. Climate change in the making. We left Valdez this morning at sea level, and this pass is about 2,000 feet high, about 700 meters. And I just got up here, and then behind me the view cleared. Show this huge glacier just right next to us. So I'm right at the base of the Worthington Glacier here, right at the mouth where the river is coming out from underneath the glacier. All this meltwater is coming from all parts of the glacier, just melting and coming out in this gushing torrent of freezing cold water. The air around here is absolutely freezing. It's all the water is just above freezing point, and it's really cold, and there's a gush of air coming out with it. It's really incredible to see that this much water coming out, and the glacier is still here.
Asa and Javier are biking across South America towards the southern tip, and now find themselves in Los Llanos, Venezuela.
Here the real flooded areas start. It's a beautiful river. We have seen our first alligator just 10 minutes ago. It was dead. This road is a lot of traffic, so many wild animals are dead in the side. But it's a nice landscape change. We love landscape changes.
Traffic isn't the only thing threatening the country's nature. President Hugo Chavez is rapidly seizing these areas and giving them to farmers for agricultural use.
This is President Chavez in his weekly punishment to the people of Venezuela. He used to talk like 4, 5, 6 hours every Sunday. And he's trying to explain to the people that they can convert the state of Apure in a big rice field, which is pretty scary.
How can this crocodile survive?
Hugo Chavez, when you see him in the television, he's actually talking quite a lot about the environment and how important it is. But, he gives one message and the action is actually against what he's saying. And it's a real environmental threat that we see now right in front of our eyes. It's happening here and now, and it's sad.
We have been crossing Los Llanos with the bicycle, and we knew that it would be difficult to make one stretch because the road didn't appear in the map, but we wanted to try. And at the end, there's no road in reality.
There's no other option but to go by boat. The two are taken to a place that's very special to Javier.
We are very excited because this is the Orinoco River. Since I was a child, I love to see maps, and I had a World Atlas where I like to pass my finger in the rivers, the mountains, and so on. And I always dreamt to go to this river.
There's still a few miles to go to the real border.
We are finally entering the Yukon and leaving Alaska after just over 3 weeks of cycling. It's kind of strange because we just found out that even though we're in Canada now, we don't actually get through to the customs for another 20 miles. Right. Here we have the human monkey demonstrating international diplomacy by standing on top of the border. Oh, you're not doing it, are you? Oh my god! It's amazing!
Alex and Finn are excited, especially when they arrive at the campsite.
Apparently, tonight only, camping is free, free laundry, free showers. So we'll be indulging, and yeah, it's a fantastic welcome to Canada.
But the mood can suddenly change on a trip like this.
It's ridiculous! It's like cycling through a wind turbine! Going downhill! You're barely moving!
Today we did a full day's cycling and we only managed to do about 54 kilometers. We had a horrible headwind and it just felt like we were cycling uphill the whole time. So at about 5 o'clock we just gave up.
Suddenly, we both felt quite remote. There was suddenly a feeling that it was a different territory. And I think the clouds had come in, it got a little bit darker and the weather wasn't looking too good. But we just suddenly felt a lot more remote and a lot more vulnerable.
The guys are exhausted.
I'm a lot slower, not on the cycling, but just on the camp and getting everything ready and getting everything set up. I just take my time a lot more. I'm just trying to enjoy it all, but it seems that Finn is a lot quicker at a lot of the things and then ends up waiting around for me, so that has created a bit of tension, and trying not to get on each other's nerves. This is the time when tensions run a little higher, that they can be a hitch, so they're just both being pretty careful at the moment.
We have been biking for 5 weeks and 3 days now, and for the first time we are actually going south. We have been going north, we have been going east, and it's a real nice feeling of finally going south. We are looking forward to make a big biking day today. We are planning to make 140 kilometers. I don't know if that is really realistic. Biker's life is amazing. You eat so well, you sleep so well, you feel so well. It's a nice life. It's raining like the hell. This morning we woke up in a lake, or rather in a river. It was plenty of water entering from the ground, from up. We were screaming, running with the things. It's really a disaster. I'm dirty, I'm sandy. The things are sandy. We were trying to put the tent here because 5 minutes ago there was sunny and nice here, very dry, to dry the things, but this happened and now again we are quite packed. Shit, we really have to run now because we have a tropical storm in the back. We better hurry up to find a roof.
Canada is the world's second largest country, a huge land with wide plains, soaring mountains and lots of trees.
I think logging is probably one of the most relevant environmental problems at the moment, seeing as it's happening everywhere around the world, in all climates and all biomes.
There's a lot of logging going on here.
This is when we first started seeing apparent clear-cutting along the side of the road.
With an abundance of trees, people don't really seem to care.
I suppose there is a certain rationale saying if you have that many trees, why not cut down a certain percentage? I think that just admitting that in a way is admitting that we haven't come up with any sustainable long-term alternative for chopping down trees. That is something that seems to be just sort of giving up in advance, saying, oh, it's all right, we can waste that much because we have that much to waste.
Right, should we start?
These boreal forests are also known to be the lung of the planet as well. I mean, they sink more carbon dioxide than all the tropical forests in the world. And to be cutting this down seems to be shooting ourselves in the foot.
Right, yeah, we should be planting trees rather than cutting them down if we want to try and reduce climate change.
97-year-old Vancouver Island resident Merv Wilkinson has been looking for environmentally friendly ways of logging since he was a young man.
Cutting what you're growing, and that's what the result is. Every time you clear cut, the forest gets shorter and shorter. Then you don't get your growth rate.
The trees are growing well in Wildwood. In the meantime, Merv has signed off as a park ranger and was replaced by Jay.
Here's a air photo of the larger Yellow Point area with Wildwood in this longer rectangle, and the neighbouring property also marked. And Merv managed this whole area at one point. For the majority of time that Merv has been here, the goal was a sustained yield of timber. Each tree grows a certain amount per year, and so he figured if he can calculate how much an area of the forest is growing per year, and he only took that annual growth rate, he would have some lumber to harvest every year.
This was quite new in BC, and particularly it was not new elsewhere in the world.
In sustainable forestry, people look at each tree to decide if it should be chopped down.
So here, this tree, you can see 5 or 6 years of fairly good growth, and then decline in growth rate, and that persisted for, looks like, about 6 decades or so, and then it sped up again as a result of another tree being taken out somewhere.
This way, they can monitor how well a tree is growing.
If a tree is growing well, we're not going to want to cut it down, and if it's slowing down in its growth rate, then it becomes a candidate to take out.
And so Wildwood earns its money while preserving nature.
Almost every day there is some form of wildlife that is here, and it's behaving perfectly naturally because it's a perfectly natural environment for it.
Welcome to Silver City in the Yukon Territory. This was an old mining town which was abandoned in 1901, and it's still here. It's incredible. We saw a lot of mining and excavation, gold mines and copper mines.
Sometimes it looks like people left in a hurry, discarding everything of no value. The consequences of the mining industry aren't that visible in this area, unlike the Venezuelan location Asa and Javier find themselves in.
We are in La Bulla Hoja de Lata, which is about 20 kilometers from Guyana. It's quite an outlaw place, so we wouldn't be here if it wouldn't be because of Alexander, who is here. He's a gold miner.
Esta bulla tiene aproximadamente 3 meses que se formó. Esto era una selva limpia, ya se ha deforestado, se ha sacado toda la flor.
The situation out here is terrible. Men work under poor conditions, searching for much wanted nuggets of gold. The impact on the rainforest and the nature is massive.
This is a place completely contaminated with quicksilver. Quicksilver is highly poisoning, so there's a lot of skin diseases, there's a lot of respiratory problems, they're poisoning of the people.
Yeah, and of course also the environment, the fishes and all the life in the river is influenced. And those fishes are later eaten by humans, and it comes to it's get a very big spread in the whole thing.
There's a lot of invaders, poor people, that are running towards this goal. And they are living in very bad conditions.
Por lo menos este muchacho tiene como, venga para acá, compadre, este es un muchacho que debe tener como 17 años. Ese es un muchacho que trabaja en esos barrancos buscando el sustento de sus padres. ¿Ah?
They go down into deep holes that we were seeing, 30, 40 meters down. The holes were just not even a meter in diameter.
¿Cómo lo hacen, señor? ¿Con martillo?
¿Cuántos compañeros son ustedes? 6. Nosotros los mineros competimos aquí, el que llegue primero el material. ¿Y cómo lo podemos sacar? Pegamos los huecos demasiado pegados y empiezan a caerse barrancos. Hubieron compañeros de nosotros que le han caído barrancos, que han sacado graves, han habido muertos. El gobierno no está por nosotros, el gobierno está en que uno le saque el mineral, le venda para ellos trasladar a otro sitio y ganar más real. Nosotros nos morimos aquí, listo.
It's really touching, and it gives you a perspective of your own life that is amazing, because I used to complain at home that my work is hard or dangerous as a veterinarian working with the cows, but really it has no comparison at all. I don't have any reason to complain about anything.
1,000 kilometers away from here, people in Suriname are looking for an alternative to the destructive mining industry. The organisation ICCO is one of the financiers of the project. A part of Paramaribo's prosperity is down to the mining of gold and bauxite. These mines do generate money, but a lot of them are owned by Westerners. Suriname also has another natural resource, the acai berry.
De acai wordt ook wel genoemd podosiri.
The acai berry grows in the rainforest and has lots of uses.
Dat is zeg maar dik pulpachtig sap dat eruit wordt gewonnen en dat hier normaal wordt gegeten met rijst en cassave.
Thick and pulp-like doesn't sound that attractive at all.
We podosi na gangu son tusani si fam fatu. A podosi mi mata igim ta kabegi fu pap bi kami abe wandingi papa. A wan bunsani if ye siki fi abi lagi bulu ikandingi podosi furu anai mo hei bulu de normal.
But most importantly, the berry is Suriname's most important export.
In Europa en Amerika worden er allerlei gezondheidsdrankjes van gemaakt en ook nog jams en purees. Overal in de wereld op dit moment lijkt het wel een hype.
Take a look in your local supermarket. The acai berry is used for a variety of products, such as juice and shampoos. Although it's a wonderful source of income for the country, the berries are certainly not easy to harvest.
In het bos merk je dus dat je van die hele hoge bomen hebt. En het gebeurde heel vaak in het verleden dat zulke bomen dan makkelijk omgekapt werden. Waar we naartoe willen met deze plukkers is om op duurzame wijze te oogsten.
Wale fabe prani bom taki in de rei isabito da abe kamoro lekte moro chata bonde moro for dealer.
There's now a new plantation starring the acai berry's little brother, Podosiri.
Het voordeel van de dwergpodosiri is dat het kort blijft. Ik denk dat de maximale hoogte 2 meter is. Ook de vrouwen die verwerken kunnen nu makkelijk oosten.
The delicious berry is good for the health and environment, a fruit with a lot of advantages.
September in the Yukon, and the weather has definitely turned. It's wet, it's freezing. Coffee time. Woo.
All good?
Beautiful.
That's amazing, isn't it?
is just beautiful. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. It's the fall, it's autumn here, so the colours are amazing. I'm just wondering how Osa and Javier are getting on down in South America. Looking at their blogs, it looks pretty hot. I'm pretty jealous of that. It's freezing up here. My hands were numb all day today.
I think it's a nice spaghetti bolognese here. And suddenly the rain came, making it a little bit more complicated, but we are quite boring in our diet. In this travel we buy a lot of pasta because it keeps you going for a long time. Doesn't take so much space, and it's a lot of food when it's cooked. We used to eat it with some tomato sauce, or we buy sardines, sometimes egg, but that's more or less the variety that we have.
That was Alex demonstrating his chimpanzee skills.
We needed wood, right?
I guess we did need wood. Mental. It's a freak of nature.
This is not the most distinguished cooking setup, with socks and sweaty gloves all around, but I think the pasta's ready. I think it's cooked al dente, slow cook.
This is good.
We were in a good mood until we reached this sign, which says that in the following 40 kilometers there will be dangerous climbs, which means I think that it's going to be quite steepy. The people have been telling us that it's impossible to climb with a bike, that we are going to have to go pushing or take a car.
But that isn't an option for our bikers, so Asa and Javier take their chances.
The road is really beautiful, it's very narrow, and you have the feeling that the jungle around is retaking the road. Sometimes you are like in a tunnel.
Javier is still touched by the things he saw in the gold mine.
Yeah, it was pretty sad yesterday. I think it's quite important that when people buy gold, think twice. This area could suffer the same fate as the flats regarding gold mining.
So I think our message is don't buy gold. Huh?
Yeah, don't buy gold.
After hundreds of kilometres across the Canadian landscape, Finn and Alex finally find themselves back among people.
We're in Whitehorse. It feels great to be here. This is the capital of the Yukon Territory, the largest city here, about 20,000 people. And we finally hit civilization again.
It's time to relax, so they go for a drink in a pub, where Finn dives into the history of the Yukon River.
This is the mighty Yukon River. This river was extremely important during the gold rush over 100 years ago, as a way of transportation, getting through the various rugged territories and landscapes.
It feels great to be acting like tourists after the punishing experience of cycling thousands of kilometres. Trying some local specialties feels like a real reward.
Yours not spicy, right?
Yes.
And like good tourists, we need to know about the weather.
So when does it start getting cold here?
What's that?
When does it start getting cold?
I don't know. I heard on the radio that it was supposed to snow. Maybe in the next couple days.
Really? We gotta get going then.
I don't know if
we gotta
that's...
get biking then.
Yeah.
No one biking in the snow.
I'm sure it won't snow a lot, but there's a chance of it.
Medium's for me,
Yeah, medium, that's mild.
It's great. I feel I can eat anything and I won't get too fat in a cycle trip. But if I get into that habit, as soon as I finish it, I'm going to double in size. I won't. No, I know, it's not fair. Skinny runt.
Next time in Going South, Alex and Finn are concerned about huge campers on the road.
It is hard to see so much waste in a way of energy.
It's like emissions.
And Asa and Javier arrive at the beautiful Amazon rainforest.
Wow, what a beautiful river.
This and much more next time in Going South.